Hi everyone, this is Katy Groves, and in this video I'm going to be talking more about the changes that have been taking place in the midst of our big integration between Katy and Damien. We have found that our heart feels unified. Like we can really feel this sense that this core split is gone. And while we still have DID, obviously, and are still speaking in plural pronouns a lot, we're finding ourselves speaking in it less. There are parts that are a lot more inclined to refer to themselves in singular pronouns, meaning that they have achieved integration within individual subsystems more. And we're finding that our ability to process trauma is finally... I've been thinking a lot about how to explain this, and I'm not sure that I really can, but we've noticed a huge shift in our ability to process trauma. With a unified core and a conscious mind that is aligned with it, we're now able to consciously process trauma in a deeply heartfelt way. We've been processing trauma this whole time in order to get to where we are now, but now that we're here, we're really able to deeply heal. And this brings me to a point that I know that I've touched on in early videos on this channel, but I would really like to try to make in full here. So when we first started healing, we ran into a huge issue with a lot of literature about recovery from DID, and we ran into issues with therapists who had these ideas about the order in which a person must heal. And they wanted us to work on grounding ourselves before we tried to even begin communicating with alters in our system. Or they wanted us to start communicating, but still with a huge emphasis on grounding. And we found that we were so polyfragmented with the exponential splitting that we could not do that without intense deprogramming and inner coordination. And in order to deprogram, we had to process trauma. And we ran into these issues where there were these professionals who were saying that we shouldn't be trying to process trauma until we achieved a certain level of groundedness, or we shouldn't be trying to process the trauma until we achieved a certain level of intercommunication. But for us, with our level of fragmentation, it was a catch-22. There was absolutely no way to achieve any of that stuff without processing trauma and without just being deeply connected. And so the whole order in which we've had to do things has been different than what a lot of literature suggests and what a lot of therapists directly suggest to their clients. And it's been so different, in fact, that it has basically forced us to not try to be in therapy at all, because we found it really impossible to try to get professionals to understand even the basics of what we're doing. And as soon as they start trying to apply any pre-existing knowledge they have to it, it usually fails. Unless, of course, they are an REMC therapist, in which case that's a whole other thing. So what I'm trying to say is that we've had to structure things in an unorthodox way. And with the unification that we have achieved now, and now our newfound ability to process trauma fully, we can honestly say that what we've done has worked, that our methodology for deprogramming has been successful. We are not fully integrated or deprogrammed, but we have achieved a level of integration and deprogramming that is extremely profound, and it has only been possible through doing things in our unconventional way. So I just really, really want to impress that upon any survivors who are watching this, who are struggling with healing in a fashion that has been organized by someone else. If you have a therapist who is insisting that you have to do things a certain way and it's just not working, then they might be wrong, and they might not be coming from a place of understanding that you yourself may actually be capable of coming from, because you are the only one who actually knows what it's like to be you, and you are the only one who's living in your system. So I just really hope that those of you both who followed my channel for a long time and also those of you who are more new to it, who are struggling in this way, really take something from what I've been doing here. That you really find strength in it. Because there are a lot of mental health professionals that act like they want us to heal, but they're actually working for the people who exploited us, or they are really brainwashed by them, even just through general social conditioning and whatever education they received in psychology. They may repeatedly suggest the things that will undermine our healing processes. And I'm not saying that there's no point in seeing a therapist or that there aren't great therapists out there. I'm not even saying that if you have a therapist who doesn't quite get it, that you shouldn't see them. I'm just saying that a lot of what's out there about DID and recovery, especially as it applies to deprogramming from REMC, does not apply to everyone in every way. And it's just really important that even if you are to accept professional help, either through reading literature or through seeing professionals directly, that you remember that you are the only one who actually knows you at the core. And you are the only one who can actually ultimately make the decisions that will lead to your freedom.